Hi YouTube, I'm back. Look who's back, back again. Chez is back, tell a friend. I went a bit quiet on you there for a while, didn't I? So those who follow me regularly, thanks for sticking with me. I'm sorry I disappeared. Turns out moving house takes up a lot of my valuable free time and money. So I had to go out and earn lots more money than I usually do. But I'm okay now. I'm back on track and I'm back on YouTube. Hey. So thanks for sticking with me. And I'm answering some of these questions. Embarrassingly, this is one from 4 months ago from Music Fan 100. Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible friend. But I'm answering you now. So better late than never. What got you interested in playing the saxophone? What other instruments would you like to learn? That's a good question. So I started on the piano when I was very young, like 5 years old or something like that. I come from a musical family, so yeah, parents were like, let's get her on an instrument nice and quick. My aunt was a concert pianist and she was my hero. So I wanted to do just like her and started the piano, but I'm not sure that it really suited my personality. Eventually I tried out the flute and I still play a flute and clarinet. And then when I found the sax, it just sort of clicked. It felt like it was right for my personality, and I think you find the instrument that's right for you. It's almost like when you meet someone and you feel like they don't quite suit their name, it's almost like they've been given the wrong name. I feel like it's that with instruments, and the sax really suited me. Other instruments that I'd like to learn, well, I'd really love to be able to strum a bit of guitar. Just, you know, that you have that beautiful image of being on a beach and just having a guitar. I'd love to be able to, I can play ukulele, but I'd really like to be able to play guitar. And I'd like to be able to play piano like effortlessly. So I can kind of, I can read music and I can accompany, but I'd love to be able to improvise on the piano like I can with the sax. That would just be so wonderful. But yeah, there aren't enough hours in the day, eh? Okay, so my next question I have here, again, from many months ago. I'd love to hear you play and how I can sound as good as you. Oh, thanks, Hon. Appreciate that. And that's got some likes on it as well. It's probably me that just liked it twice. So, yeah, tone is a funny one. I think it's kind of like singing. You have a certain tone that you're kind of born with, and then you develop that, and then you can have lessons and improve on it as well. So, my tone is my voice on the sax, and the kind of style I play and where I put my growls in and my bends. That's very much like my accent on the instrument. So do go away, if you haven't watched my video on listening to other sax players, that's definitely how I developed my style. So like, you know, Beyonce takes a lot of her singing style from certain people. Like she's got some Michael Jackson elements in there. Like everyone takes their style a little bit from someone else and their favorite artists and their influences, and then finds a way to make it their own. So watch that video that I made. I'll put a link to that. And also, if you haven't caught my videos on kind of warm-ups and tone exercises, that is something that I still do now, and has led me to have this sort of tone that I've gone for. Right, so we have a question from Mr. Peter Newport. Hey, Peter. A couple of people have covered this. Sorry if my response is a bit late. Started out 2 months ago. I have an instructor, but my progress feels a little slow. I've learned how to play nearly all the major scales, but that's pretty much all I've practiced. And then he goes on basically to say he feels like all they're really doing is scales and he needs a bit more inspiration. Yeah, I mean, practice is difficult. It's a discipline thing. It's kind of like, I kind of associate it with fitness. I do a lot of fitness stuff, and I try and work out 5 times a week. I do a couple of yogas and a few runs. And I just think you need a routine in your practice that gets you going. So if you haven't already watched my video on practicing, there's a couple actually out there. So if you look up Chez Taylor practice, you'll see my advice on practicing. And basically it's all about bite-sizing it. So you should always have a little bit of warm-up, always have a little bit of scales. They are really important, although it shouldn't really be all you're learning, because I agree that is dull. Maybe a bit of improv. If you haven't already followed my playlist, I've got a whole playlist on improvisation that people seem to really love, so I'll keep adding to that. So follow one of those each week as well. And then you need a new tune, or a tune that you're working on but trying a new section of it, and making sure you're breaking it into those kind of 4 different sections. Even better if you can sneak in some sight reading if you're learning to read music as well. So it's kind of a 5-section thing to your practice, and maybe trying to do that, let's say 4 times a week, depends how long you practice for. And I think if you find that, if you break everything down so that you're only doing a tiny chunk of scales, but they are important, alongside all the other bits and bobs that you're working on, then I think you'll find it a bit more inspiring and just part of your routine. Okie doke. Let's see who's next. Shan. Oh, it looks like I might have answered this already. Hi, Chez, you do a phenomenal job with your videos. Aww, thanks, buddy. I've been playing tenor for nearly 4 years now. Recently started informal jam sessions. I've noticed a trend. The guitar guy using the lead sections calls out the key. And then when I ask them, don't always know the key, they say something like, oh, good, dude, the chords are just this, or something like that. So what do I do? Is it all ear training, or is there any trick to figure things out on the fly? That's actually a really good question. So first of all, when you're trying to find a key, obviously, I'm sure you already know that you're a transposing instrument, so whatever key the guitarist shouts out, that's actually not your key. So if you're a tenor player, then I think you said, playing tenor for nearly 4 years, yeah, then you'll be a tone up from there. Sorry if that's patronizing, you already know that bit. If you haven't watched my video on transposing instruments and wonder why they come out a different pitch, you should definitely catch that one. So yes, trying to find the key. I actually have done a video on this, finding the key. So if you look up Chez Taylor, finding the key, you'll find that. But what I normally search for is I try and find a note that sits, that works. So oddly enough, your hand will often take you there or close. It's really bizarre. I don't really know what is going on there, but it often will. So try a note, and if it clashes completely, you know it's not the one, try something nearby. Try and find a note that sits. Now, 9 times out of 10, that will either be the tonic, so the first note of the scale, or the dominant, the 5th note of the scale. So if you then go, let's say you're trying a note, you found that B works. If you go 5 notes up from that and try that note, if that does clash, then you know that you're on the dominant. So if you go 4 notes up, then it should sit, if that makes sense. So the note that you find that sits well will either be the 1st note of the scale or the 5th. And then you can kind of work it out from there. Majority of pop songs, if you're playing along with poppy guys, you can get away with kind of using one scale throughout for improvising. So when you're saying, oh, dude, the chords are this, this, and this, actually, you can normally use one scale over them. So most pop songs, if you've never watched any of those YouTube videos, you should check them out. There's these videos on 4 chords, and it's how like so many pop songs only use these 4 chords. And actually, we can kind of use a pentatonic scale over all of those. If you don't already follow my improvising playlist, you should, because that will give you loads more depth on this. I'm just skimming through because this is a Q&A. But I hope that was helpful, Shan. Okay, Kate. Kate. Hi, Kate. I was gifted a Yamaha 4 years ago, taught myself, suddenly I squeak. Never squeaked before. Counting on a song, I don't really know what the problem is. Okay, so using plastic and wooden reeds never caused a problem before. Okay, Kate, no, that's, so the squeaking thing, I mean, it could be a number of things. I don't know whether you've had your sax checked, but it could be that you've got a leak on your instrument. So a leak means that, right, the way that you'd be able to tell this, if you press the keys really hard and it doesn't squeak, it probably means that you've got a leak, because when you're touching them at your kind of regular, I don't know, touch, grip, then they're letting out a tiny bit of air, or even just one key is letting out a tiny bit of air. So that could cause squeaks. So if there's any problems with the actual instrument itself, that could cause squeaks. Similarly, have a good look around and see if any of the screws are coming out. Like if any of them are slightly loose, that could cause squeaks. And that's a really gradual thing as well, where it'll be coming out a little bit and it's absolutely fine. And then it gets to a certain tipping point where the screw is out just, you know, just a minuscule amount, but enough that suddenly everything's slightly misaligned, and that can cause it to squeak as well. Now, unfortunately, if it's nothing wrong with the sax and it's suddenly something that's happened with you, it might be a number of things. So it could be that your diaphragm is giving in. So have you changed your posture? Are you sleeping badly and actually your shoulders are really tight and you're starting to hunch? And if you're hunching more, this is going to give in a bit. Make sure you're upright and this is not giving in. The whole time your diaphragm needs to be engaged. Same with your embouchure. Are you actually carrying a lot of tension in your jaw? Have you changed anything in your lifestyle or anything? Or it could just be a gradual thing that you've got more and more tense. Have you noticed bite marks on the top of your reed? Are you getting more and more tense in your embouchure? If so, really, really try and relax that back down. Think about that open throat. And if you're engaging your diaphragm properly, you shouldn't need to grip on so much. That's a bit of a do as I say, not as I do, because I am a gripper. But I hope that was helpful, Kate. And do watch my videos on squeaking. I think there's about 4 different ones saying about various different reasons why the saxophone might squeak or split. So check those out as well. If you look up Chez Taylor squeaks, you'll find them. Laura, hi there, smiley face. Strong start, Laura, I like. I recently bought a Selma Bunde, good choice, original series alto, and I've been having trouble tuning it. Oh yeah, Selma is a bit of a nightmare for tuning. Beautiful sax, but yeah, it does have tuning issues. At the moment I have the mouthpiece off as far as possible. Ooh, that doesn't seem right. Without actually being off the sax. Plays a whole tone above what it's meant to be. It's a bit of an oldie. Any idea why it's not getting low enough? Okay. You haven't said what mouthpiece you have on here. I'd be interested to know a bit more about this before I give you much advice, Laura. So like, although this was quite a while ago, so I wonder if you're still having problems with it, but what mouthpiece are you using on there? And have you had the sax checked out? If you're buying an old sax, you do really need to have it serviced and make sure everything's happy and all going according to plan with it. And then, yeah, mouthpiece as well. Does your mouthpiece have any issues with it? Have you tried different mouthpieces and come out with the same thing? And also, if you were playing on instruments before, did you ever find that you were quite a sharp player before, or is this a new issue? Okay, hope that was useful. Right, we're gonna do one more, and then I kind of need to go. So, Magic, I like your name. Ain't been on YouTube in a while, but still get updates. Love your videos. Keep them coming. What a way to finish. That's not a question, but I like your style. Thanks, Magic. Okay, there will be another Q&A very, very soon. I'm back on it with YouTube. So if your question hasn't been answered, please be patient with me and thank you. If you've watched this video and you thought, oh, I wish I'd commented the first time, or you have more questions for me, put them in the comments box for this. I love hearing from you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, why not? Please do. That's where you'll get updates on when the next video is, and I'm putting out loads more. There's going to be a huge Christmas run. You know, I feel very strongly about Christmas. So keep an eye on the videos, and thanks for supporting my channel. Bye guys. Thank you. Love you. Bye. So I am serious about this subscribing thing. Hit that button. Do it. Do it, or I'll drop the sack. I will. I'll do it.